are going to discuss about the ACBSP accreditation standard 4. Now there are 7 standards in the ACBSP accreditation process. Out of these 7 standards, the standard number 4 is very difficult and very complex. Difficult in a sense that how to measure that particular standard and then how to write about it, because there are many complications and the confusions which are already involved with the nature of a subject, and then how to put it in a proper particular measurement and convert it into a proper number. That is the biggest challenge in the ACBSP standard number 4. The standard number 4 is entitled that student learning assessment. So welcome, and I am going to discuss about the brief introduction part of the ACBSP. After that we are going to focus on standard number 4. Now this ACBSP is actually for the institutions which are running the business management program. Now if you are running a business management program in your own domestic front and most of your students are going abroad for the master degree program, so what happens to put it at a same platform? Sometime the university at the America, they are asking students to do certain credit courses so that they will put you at par with the American students. But if you have an ACBSP recognitions, then this requirement is going to be vanished. And there are only 2 or 3 institutes in India which are ACBSP accredited. Rest of the universities are not accredited to ACBSP. So if you are a faculty member in a management program or MBA program, or if your institute is running any MBA courses or any type of management courses, then you must apply for the ACBSP program. Now when you are applying for the ACBSP program, you have to follow standard 7. Total 7 standard that you have to write in detail, and you have to prepare a project report and give that project report to the ACBSP authority. Once they receive the report, they will come physically and check everything, and if they satisfy, they will issue a ACBSP accreditation certificate, which you can put it on your websites and on your signboard. Everywhere you can put that is ACBSP recognized. And it is a quality program, so there are various multiple benefits for the ACBSP recognitions. And as I discussed, out of 7 standards, standard number 4 is much in detail and it is too much confusing, so everybody wants to know more about the standard number 4. I myself, Dr. Rajesh, I am working in the Yanbu University in the Royal Commission College, and we have the accreditation of the ACBSP. My faculty member were trying for the last 10 years to come out with a clear-cut idea about the standard number 4. But when they have given this task to me, I worked a lot, I read a lot, and then I applied the model. I created a model for standard number 4, which I am going to discuss in this particular video. So if you master the standard number 4, rest of the standard is very easy to write and incorporate. So welcome to all of you for the discussion on the standard number 4. Now what is the full form of ACBSP? ACBSP means it is an accreditation council for business school and programs. So it is the accreditation council. A for accreditation, C for council, B for business, S for school, and P for program. So this is the full form of ACBSP. Now the question is arising, why we need to take the ACBSP? What is the reason why we should go for the ACBSP accreditation? First of all, ACBSP accreditation process follows Baldrige model. Now this is one of the most famous model. You can discuss, you can search on the internet and find out what are there in the Baldrige model. The accreditation focus on recognition of teaching excellence. So when you have a certificate, it is an indirect proof that there is a grit and scientific teaching of that particular institute, and there is an excellence in the teaching. Determine the student learning outcomes. Now, whenever you learn any subject, then there must be some objective behind this subject. And whether that objective is achieved or not, that we can say outcome. So how we are going to measure that particular outcome is achieved or not, that is what we have to discuss in standard 4 of the ACBSP. And continuous improvement model. Now it is like Kaizen. And Kaizen means once you did the work you keep silence. No. Here there is a continuous improvement in your teaching, learning, and so many other activities involved in the learning aspects of the student. So it is more of a student centric kind of teaching, and there has to be an improvement every time, because when a new student comes they have a different mindset, they have a different set of experience, they have a different discipline. So all things are different, and you have to understand each and every students before you are trying to teach any subject. Institutions with programs accredited by ACBSP are committed to continuous improvement that ensure their business program will give students the skill employers wants. Now, here is an employer, and here is your business school. So if there is a connection between the employer and the business school, then you will provide the skill which is asked by the employer or a institution or the industry. But if there is a broken connection between these two, then whatever you are providing, that may be or may not be needed by the industry. So there should be a proper bridge between the industry and the college. So if there is a proper bridge, then you are catering to the needs of the industry, and therefore you have to be in continuous touch with the industry to know what type of skill they are actually asking from the student. So benefit of the ACBSP accreditation, it is a roadmap to success for business program. Why it is a roadmap to success? Because if there is a proper linkage between the industry and college, then definitely your program is actually more productive and more in demand, because it is going to cater the needs of the industry. And secondly, the industry is not a static kind of things. They are adopting something which is new, innovative. So as you are connecting with the industry, your curriculum is also going to be revised every now and then. It is not that you are teaching something which is 10-year-old and what is happening right now in the market, and there is a disconnection between these two. So that is not going to happen, because the industry people will tell you what they are doing, and from that you will design the set of skill which is to be given to the student. Commitment to excellence. So commitment to excellence to the students. Whatever the students demands and whatever it is demand in the market, you are giving and you are catering that skill to the students in institutions and industry. Demonstration of the quality. Now what do you mean by quality? Quality is changing from person to person. But here the meaning of a quality means whatever is needed in the market, and if you are giving the same kind of set of skills which is required in the industry, then you are maintaining the quality. And of course, let's say the industry should be happy with your product. What is your product? Your product is student. So if the industry is happy with the students' quality, then it will definitely bring a quality to the program. Global recognition. As I said, it is not valid only in India or in Saudi Arabia or certain part of the Latin America. It is, ACBSP standard is acceptable everywhere, and mostly it is acceptable in USA. Better articulation of agreement, increasing in student values. So these are the benefit of the ACBSP accreditation process. Now what are the 7 standards of the ACBSP? The first standard is about the leadership. Now here the leadership means you have to integrate the societal responsibility and community development. So there are twin objectives. One, what is the societal responsibility that you have to fulfill by running the program, and that societal responsibility you are going to fulfill, and then you are developing a community by giving a better course, better curriculum to the student. Strategic planning, implementation of the goal and measure the progress. So strategic word, is actually come out from the vision and mission of a institute. And vision of a mission of an institute is mostly depend upon the external factor of the environment. So when you are integrating the external factor in your strategic plan and then you are measuring the progress, then it makes sense. Student and stakeholder process. So when in an institution, the students are the stakeholders, the parents are the stakeholders, government are the stakeholders, industry are the stakeholders. So there are various stakeholders, and then you are going to fulfill the needs of each and every stakeholders. Then you are more stakeholder focused. Student learning assessment. That is what we are going to discuss. Whatever you are teaching, are you going to give a set of skills which is required by the industry? So that is what you need to measure it out. How to measure it out, that we are going to discuss at a later stage. Faculty focus. So once the faculty is coming into your institutes, it is the assets which has a legs. So if you do not respect the faculty member, if you do not develop the faculty member, then that assets will walk and going to some other organization, and it is going to be a biggest loss for the institutions. So once the faculty will come, you have to provide the different FDP, faculty development program. Faculty development program is trying to equip the faculty member to the day-to-day changes which is happening into the environment. And then you are going to evaluate the faculty members' performance. You are offering consultancy to the faculty members, so they are with the industry, they are connected with the industry, and the faculty members is also, there are two objectives of the faculty member. One is a dissemination of the knowledge, and second one is a creation of a knowledge. The creation of the knowledge is coming through the research work. Curriculum, continuous improvement in input from the industry. So once the input is coming from the industry, then you are bringing that input into the current curriculum, and you are changing the curriculum and improving the curriculum. Business unit performance, industry interface, that we have already discussed. How to apply for the ACBSP accreditation. This is the contact detail of the ACBSP. This is the website of it, and this is the telephone number of it. Or you can click on this particular link and then you can study each and everything. The process fee for ACBSP, the total is coming 20,950 as on April 20, 2020. Contact detail of the ACBSP. If it is in United States, this is the contact detail. If it is in Europe, this is the contact detail, and if it is in Latin America, this is the contact detail. But if any Indian institutes is going to apply, they have to write a letter to United States and Europe, and maybe some faculty member will come from the United States and Europe to see what is done in your college, and based on your performance and your documentation, they will offer you the accreditation certificate. Student learning assessment, measurement of student learning. See, as I said, out of 7, the standard number 4 is one of the most difficult and one of the most confusing parameters which is going to be incorporated in ACBSP. So in standard 4 ACBSP, we are going to map the student learning outcomes and performance. But measuring the student learning outcome for social science is a big challenge, because let's say if you are asking the question in mathematics, the answer is only 1. If there is an answer, then you are giving full marks, let's say 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. So there is a proper justification of the marks, and there is a standard protocol that everybody has to follow. For example, if I am asking 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Now this question, if I am asking in USA, UK, Switzerland, China, India, Japan, the answer is only 4. Same is the case with other science stream. But when management, there are many things which are related to social. So management is a social science. Now how we are going to measure the learning outcomes when you are teaching the social science? This is but confusing. This is a kind of puzzling kind of things, and that is what we need to understand. Now For that, you need to understand the CLO and PLO. So whenever there is a vision statement, now please understand, there is a vision statement. From the vision statement, we are going to make mission statement of the college. And from the mission statement, we will decide the program learning. The program learning. So there is a program learning outcomes, and each course, for example, you are teaching economics, so there is an objective of teaching this course, so that is called CLO, course learning outcome. Now what happened, when I joined my college, there is a fracture between CLO and PLO, and there is no connection between these two. CLO is going independently, and PLO, somebody is writing something on PLO, and if I look at this CLO and PLO, I did not find any connection. So here I got my first clue that I need to do something whereby I can connect the CLO with PLO. So that is what we are going to learn more about it. Now what is PLO? I studied different websites, and I have gone through the Christchurch faculty development program by the Christchurch from New Zealand. And then after the discussion and reading different books and other things, and the NCAA manual of Saudi Arabia, which is actually come out from the USA, I found that there are 5 skills every graduate should have. So first is a communication skill, another one is a problem solving skill, third is an analytical skill, fourth is an information technology skill, and fifth is an ethical skill. So these are the 5 set of skills that every bachelor level student should and must have. So whether they are doing the MBA program or MCA program or any kind of program, these are the 5 skills that the university is trying to impart to the students. Now let us discuss in detail about the 5 different skills. The first one is a communication skill. Now communication skill means there are 3 things in communication. Number 1, you should speak well. You should speak well. You should write well. And the last but not the least, you should listen well. Now speaking is actually comes when you hear somebody. So if you are hearing somebody, then you will speak well. Writing means it is coming from your reading. When you read a lot, you can write nicely. So hearing or listening somebody will develop the speaking skill, and reading something, it will develop the writing skill. Now what you need to understand, students demonstrate competence in communicating their ideas, opinions, information in English. Now communication skill may be in any kind of subject. It may be in Arabic, it may be in Persian, it may be in Urdu, it may be in Hindi, it may be in Gujarati or in Marathi. But so far as the MBA program is concerned, we are focusing only on English. So when you are writing the correct English, when you are speaking the correct English, then your communication will greatly improve. So students should have a competence to understand and assimilate information available from the variety of sources. So students should assimilate information. So whatever they read, they should take one piece from here, another piece from here, and then they can make a better argument, better narration. If your narration and argument is logical, correct, then you develop a communication skill. Second one is a problem solving skill. Nowadays, the set of questions which is coming, for example 5 plus 5, so you will say it is 10. Now here the question is coming in a very structured form. So when there is a question which is coming in a structured form and you are solving this question, it is not a problem solving skill. But when the question is coming in an unstructured form, unstructured form. It means they will ask you a question which has multiple solution, and then you are going to come out with a solution. Then you have the problem solving skill. It means, let's say to solve one problem you have alternate solution. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 different way to solve the problem, and out of these 4 you will pick up, let's say, number 3, and you are going to reject 1, 2 and 4. Why did you select number 3 and why you are rejecting 1, 2 and 4? You have to explain. So this is called a problem solving skill. For example, let's say if you are learning a medicine and then a gynec, if for example if you are doing a gynecology in medical science, and if a lady is pregnant, so the patient will ask you that I have this problem, and when the lady is going to deliver the child, what could be the repercussion of it? Now this is something which is little unstructured, and there are many solutions to this problem, and you are suggesting one based on so many other aspects that you are considering in medical science. So this is called a problem solving skill. Another example could be, let's say when a student is come out with a CGPA from the university, and now this CGPA, when he is applying to the American university, then they are asking the grade points. Now how to convert the CGPA into a grade point, and then you will start developing an idea, and then you develop it, then it is called a problem solving skill. So when in a problem solving skill, there is not a ready-made formula available or a standard answer or standard template is available, but you are developing something and then you are going to solve the problem, then it is known as a problem solving skill. Another one is an analytical skill. Analytical skill means numerical skill. So for example, when you are doing the ratio and average, percentage, then average, all these skills, that is the mathematical skills. Then you are applying the probability and certain statistical skills like mean, median and mode, standard deviations, so many things that you are going to apply, and then it is known as an analytical skill. So analytical skill is a routine statistical and relevant mathematical technique in investigating and proposing the solution to the problem. Students should be able to demonstrate the basic mathematical and analytical problem related to business. But here again, the approach that there are set of skill of mathematics and statistics. To solve this particular problem, which particular set of skill you are going to use, that is what we need to understand. Information technology skill. Now, why information technology skill? Nowadays, if you look at the industry, most of the industry is running with the help of software and hardware. Now, pen and paper approach is almost reducing, or you can say just 10 to 15%. 80% of the work is done with the help of a computer or information technology. So each subject has some applications of information system, and if you are incorporating the information system into that particular subject, then you are fulfilling the objective of developing the information technology skill. For example, let's say if I am teaching economics and I am teaching the cost function, and when I can make a graph like this is a fixed cost graph, this is the average cost graph, but this is okay, this is just a manual. But if I am asking them to prepare a cost sheet on the Excel sheet and then you develop a graph, then I am using the information technology skill. Another important aspects in the information technology skill, there are various sites which are exclusively dedicated for the information technology. So if they know what are the name of the sites and what is the name of that URL, then it is also considered to be the information technology skill. Ethical skill. Without ethics, everything is zero. So in a strategic management book by Dr. Davis, The first line in the book is everything should be ethical. Ethical is the best strategy. Ethics is the best strategy. So, students should be made aware about what is ethical and what is not ethical. If they are not aware about the ethical behavior and unethical behavior, it means whatever the education that he is undergoing doesn't have any purpose. So, ethical skills should be infused into the mind of the student. So, these are the 5 different skill sets that we have discussed so far. So, this is known as a PLO, that is Program Learning Outcomes. Now, when we were studying the Program Learning Outcomes, we have to understand the depth of each and every questions. This question is actually asking what type of skill and at what level. So when we are talking about the level, for example, if I am asking somebody to write a definition of something, that is also a communication skill. If I am asking that you are giving argument in favor and you are going to give an argument against this particular topic, that is also a communication skill. And then if I am asking, critically evaluate the following paragraph and write your evaluation in your own words, that is also a communication skill. But the level is different. So, to understand the level in a much better manner, what we did, we have taken the Bloom's taxonomy. Now, in the Bloom's taxonomy, the remembering is actually level 1. In remembering, whatever is printed in the book, if you are repeating and mugging up that particular definition of 1 or 2 lines and reproducing 1 or 2 lines in an exam, then it is a remembering skill. So it is more about your, brain power, understanding or comprehension. Now, whatever is written in a definition, when you are putting in your own words, your understanding, then it is a level 2. Whatever the principles, theory and practices, the ideas, the concept that you are learning, and when you are putting that concept, ideas or the principles in application, when you apply the application, then it is level 3. Analysis. When you read a definition, then you are going to analyze the entire definition into different parts and writing in detail with an example and so many other things, then it is known as analysis. Synthesis. So when you are developing an argument, you need to borrow the different proposition from economics, from political science, from social science, from the pure science, from anthropology, then from technology, from mythology. When you are collecting the ideas from the different sources and then you develop one idea or one argument, then this is known as synthesis. Evaluation or sometimes it is also known as a creation. For example, if the Indian foreign policy is given and you need to evaluate, then it is the level 5. Or let's say you will be given 2 foreign policy, one is India, another one is Japan. When you study these 2 and then you are going to create the new foreign policy for India, then it is known as a creation or a evaluation, or number 5 level. So in a Bloom's taxonomy, let's say knowledge, what are the key words? When you say define, label, identify, recalls and select, then it is known as the knowledge part or remembering part. Comprehension, which is understanding. So when you say explain, discuss, give example, then it is a comprehension. Application means you have to calculate, practice, resolve and relates. So we will continue from here in the next lecture.